In this demo, I'll show you how you can set up Tomcat as your default server. The server setting is under Windows Preferences. So we start by opening the Windows menu. Under the Window menu, we'll select Preferences. Under Preferences, we can select various options for the IDE. All preferences in the IDE are organized in categories on the left-hand side. To set up Tomcat, we need to go into the Server category. When you open the Server category, you'll see that it has a few subcategories. The setup of Tomcat is under the Runtime Environments. Click on Add to add a new runtime environment. This brings up a dialog that shows all the known server configurations. As you saw in the earlier video, I downloaded Apache Tomcat 7, so I need to pick that environment. Then I'll click Next. We must now identify to Eclipse where we install the server, and we can do so by clicking on the Browse button. This brings up a file dialog, and we need to identify the root directory where we installed Tomcat. Using the file dialog, find the directory where you unzipped your Tomcat installation. Make sure you select the root of the installation directory. If you started your Eclipse using a JDK, the next steps are not necessary. But most of you will probably have started Eclipse with a JRE or Java Runtime Environment. In the next steps, I'll show you how you can configure a JDK and assign the JDK to your Apache Tomcat installation. Start by clicking on the Install JREs button. This brings up a dialog with all the known JREs to Eclipse. Now notice that I only have a JRE 6. What I need is a JDK 6. The reason for this is that Tomcat compiles the JSP pages and therefore needs a proper compiler. I have a JDK installed on my machine, it's just not known to Eclipse. So I'm going to click on the Add button, select the standard VM, then press Next. Next we need to point out to Eclipse where we have our JDK. For that, click on the Directory button. This brings up the Windows folder selection dialog. And we now need to navigate to the place where the JDK is installed. In my specific case, it happens to be under Program Files Java, and I have JDK 16014. But in your case, it might be in a slightly different place. When you found the directory where your JDK is installed, click OK. And finally, press Finish to dismiss the Add JRE dialog. I'll checkmark the JDK as the new default JVM and click OK to dismiss the dialog. Now the new JDK should be available in the JRE dropdown. Ensure that the JDK is selected and press Finish to dismiss the server setup dialog. And finally, I'll press OK to dismiss the preference dialog, and we're done setting up Tomcat.